up, everybody? What's going on, Sports Mod fam? I'm here again, final day of combine in the books. My special guest host has been here with us the whole week, JaQuawn Turner. Back for the last day, and it's crazy. I wish I had his energy. Uh, we are
Feeling good,
still
feeling
dying,
great, feeling
dying from the Heineken virus.
hype.
Uh, our final day just ended about an hour ago now. The corners and safeties went. Not a bad group. I saw a lot that I liked, and I saw a couple things I was disappointed in, and people I want to see perform a little better, by expectations. So I'm pretty sure when you get to like pro days and stuff, they'll probably feel more at home, so they'll be able to perform a little better. But Jay, we'll start with you. We'll start with the corners first, and then we'll do a follow-up video you guys can check out later on the safety situation. But Jay, some things you liked about the corners group, and I guess in your dislikes. You got anybody in mind?
What I liked was that it's as deep as advertised, and it's very it mirrors the wide receiver group almost perfectly, where you have kind of different strokes for different kind of thing. They're different kind of corners. You got a lot of nickel, a lot. I was there. There's not as many outside guys anymore, and you can kind of see that the game is almost taking a transition to you don't have a lot of long ball guys anymore. It's a lot of guys in the middle, a lot of stuff going on in the middle of the field. One guy that I didn't know about that really impressed me was Kendall Vilder. Don't remember the school, but he was always the last guy to do a drill because of his last name, and he always kind of left an impression. He was really fluid. His speed, he ran really well. He ran a so I mean, there's a very big variety in speed, or they may have just NFL Network was getting funky with the clock, so maybe their reading was wrong, or I don't know. He ran like a whole. I was like, wait, whoa, okay.
So wait, just to reiterate, because it froze up a little, we lost you for a second there. But could you explain this one more time about what you liked about Vilder? You broke up a little bit, just so everybody can understand what you said.
I liked how fluid he was. His hips moved really well. He was really good. Had really good ball skills. Executed every drill. He was the last guy to go. Executed every drill to near perfection. I liked times. I'm not sure that accurate because the jump was significant, but I mean maybe it was. And every drill I kind of looked at, his name kept popping up. Like, he was a guy that kept popping up. Like he just always jumped out at your screen. Guys, I was kind of disappointed in were Cameron Dantzler,
Yeah, Dantzler.
a guy that was ranked like as like a top 5 corner in this draft. Didn't show well, like didn't run well. I mean, if you just told me he was a safety, I definitely would have been a lot more intrigued. But he looked really, really stiff. Did not run well at all. Um, Another guy was Lamar Jackson. Not the Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens, but the Lamar Jackson from the Nebraska Cornhuskers, whatever their name is.
Yeah, you're right.
Really, really, really slow. Like, definitely could see him move up to that nickel, that linebacker situation at 6'2", but really, really slow. Did not move well. Wasn't twitchy. It was just like, I really wanted to like him. But that's a good segue into the guys that I really, really liked and guys I kind of fell in love with. A guy of similar size that just, yes, he got burned in the national championship. I've been told this by a certain person since the day I mentioned him. He got burned in one game, and all of a
Certain
sudden he's
person.
like the worst. He's the worst corner in the world. But AJ Terrell from Clemson, like 6'1", fluid, smooth, built well, hips move well, flexible, just snatches the ball out of the air. Like high points the ball beautifully, snatches it out the air. finishes through everything he did, had popped through everything, his hands popped, just everything about this kid is just like, why are we not talking about him more? And I think to me that he's definitely probably the fourth guy, I'd say, after CJ Henderson, who was probably the smoothest mover of the entire group. Like he was just his movement, everything about him was just so smooth. At times, it didn't even look like he was moving, and that's a weird thing to say, but it just didn't look like he was moving. Like he moved so like fluid. It almost looked like I was watching ballet. I was like, well, this kid he's serious. Christian Fulton. I don't know who these mock draft people are that keep pushing Christian Fulton down to the second round. Athletically, I don't see a lot of players that are as. And I personally think you can't go wrong with picking him or Henderson as cornerback number 2. I think it's 2A and 2B at this point. Like I don't think that there's much separation between the two. But yeah, banging on the table for this kid. Like you want a fluid corner, you want a really good corner, go after him. Please, Christian Fulton is gonna make a lot of people upset that they passed on him as a corner. And a special shout out to John Reed, Randwell, another guy who was fluid, as not as fluid as Henderson, but really fluid, moved really well. Dame Jackson, who a little slow, looks like it's seen. He
Dave
looks like
Jackson?
he took
Or,
yeah.
okay.
Moved a little slow for me, but
Okay.
you can definitely see why he did. Like you could tell his technique was the athleticism may have not been up to where some other guys were, but his technique was definitely there, and you could tell he was coached well. And one guy I think that was really disappointing because he didn't run the 40 was Trevon Diggs out of Alabama. And you seen him run the few drills that he did, he looked stiff and he looked slow.
Think so?
So that's I definitely does fix that. I do personally. He looked either he wasn't going full out for the drills and he was kind of just coasting, and that may have just been what it was. But he looked slow, he looked lethargic, and it's like when you look at a guy like Jeff Okuda who got hurt and still wanted to come back in and was still going 110%, even though his draft stock is more or less secured. Like you kind of want to see other people try and keep pace. Like you want to see that hunger. This guy it looked like he just didn't care. And it's just like, that's the one thing you don't want in a corner. Because if you get burned 3 or 4 times in a game, the last thing you want is for your guy that you got out on an island or your guy that you got guarding, the second receiver that's cooking you to give up, Like that's the stuff that gets you benched. That's the stuff that makes teams feel like they don't want to invest in you anymore. And we already had D Million as a Jets as a Jets team, so I don't really feel like looking at really lethargic corners at this point. They just don't care. Yeah, that's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of my take on the corners for the most part.
All right. So for me personally, I feel like the corners mostly separated themselves from most of the safeties in this group. Yeah, again,
for sure.
Yeah, with Okuda, it kind of sucks that he got hurt and he sat out for most. It was cool that he came back and did the vert and everything, even though they didn't show that. But I think he's pretty much He's pretty much his status is set as more than likely, definitely a top 10 pick, but probably a top 5 or top 7 pick. Um, I thought of the corner group, I'd say probably I could see Stanford Samuels, Reggie Robinson, Brian Cole, Harrison Hand, and Michael Ojemudia. I could see most of them moving to the safety position because a lot of them seemed like they were pretty tight in the hips and they really didn't seem like they were moving too well. I mean, there are certain drills that when it required for them to turn their hips over, you can see the stiffness, you can see them kind of falling over or losing their balance. And it speaks to not being that fluid of a corner. So another one like Stanley Thomas Oliver is another one I kind of felt like he shows stiffness at times, and it shows that like okay, you're a taller guy, you're a bigger person, you might just have to play safety in the NFL because you don't have the fluidity in that twitch in your body to flip your hips and hop on the undercut a route or stay with a receiver. Like those corners, excuse me, those corners I couldn't really see sticking with see like a corner like that. I couldn't see them hanging with like a more speedy receiver or more athletic or agile receiver, because if a receiver like a Tariq Hill or somebody were to get inside of them, it'd be a done deal. If one of those receivers jabbed into the outside, got them leaning, and took the inside track, those corners would be done because they don't have the ability to open their hips. So I saw some of those guys, like once those guys separated themselves, I kind of want to, after those guys separated themselves as safeties, I kind of focused on the rest of the group more, because I started saying to myself, okay, these guys should be in the next group with the safeties. Then I saw people like you brought up Kendall Vildor. I believe he's from Georgia State, I want to say, or Georgia Southern. I want to say Georgia State, but he was the one I was kind of on the fence about. Like you said, sometimes he came off a little stiff. Other times he looked a little fluid and he knew what he was doing. The kid's kind of a ball hawk. I watched some of his videos from college, and then I remember him during the Senior Bowl. He wasn't bad either in the Senior Bowl, so he's an interesting one. Lamar Jackson's another one that you talked about a little bit. He's another one that he does seem a little stiff and slow, so I'm kind of on the fence about him too. I really liked John Reed, AJ Terrell, CJ Henderson probably was like the best of the group to me by far. I think he came out and made more people take notice of that. Like, I'm a nice corner too. Like, just so you know. And then personally, I really liked I like Trey Pride, and I really like Darnay Holmes. I watched Darnay Holmes a lot during the season, and I watched a lot of his highlights. I mean, whenever I caught a UCLA game, it was just to watch him. It was to watch Darnay Holmes to see what he was doing. He's a little smaller, on the smaller side. I think you mentioned him 5'9", so he's going to be another one, nickel slot, dime. He'll probably do some type of punt, kick return, or something like that. The kid's just athletic, and he has good speed, so I'm surprised he ran. I think he ran 4.5, like mid to high 4.5s. I expect.
Are you talking about Trey Pride or Darnay Holmes?
Darnay Holmes. I believe he ran mid 4.5s. I expect him to run a little
high 4.5s, low 4.4 on the second one.
Okay. Yeah, I had him around 4.45. So I expected that at least around there for both attempts. But yeah, his tape just looks like I really love his tape, and he just looks like he's a playmaker. He's always around the ball. So I mean, I saw like I said, like I saw people that should be playing safety. I saw people that are clearly going to be corners in some way, shape, or form in the NFL. It was a very telling group, I guess you could say. Like, it lets you know like who's going to be where at the next level. But yeah, we'll get to the safety group in a minute because they were the last group, and I saw a lot of good things that I liked in there too. A lot of people that I didn't know about that I actually learned a bit about, and some people that I have to look into more. But before we're done here, anything else you want to say on the corners, or?
No. I forgot to mention Damian Arnett kind of just solidified his status to me anyway as that fifth, like fifth or sixth, maybe seventh corner that you'd look at. Like, he's definitely CB2 material. He's good. Not great. He definitely he can cover the second best guy or a slot guy. Reminds me a little bit of what's his name? He was on the Jets last year. Buster Screen.
Oh, okay.
Reminds me a little bit of Buster Screen. The good Buster Screen, not the flop that was on the Jets. The guy that was actually good when he was good. Yeah, that's kind of who he reminded me of a little bit.
Terrible. All right, man. Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll talk about the safeties, and we'll end it off with that. Sound good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back. Check out our safety video coming out next.